All right, gang, we have just started the recording for how to host a Teams meeting. And so, again, I'm your host, Jason Pasha. Most of you guys on the call know me, but if not, I'm going to help guide you through how to do a Teams meeting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen because a lot of you who are on the call today, and if you're watching this video, you'll need a little information on what some of the common icons are that you can use when you are on the viewer side or the attendee side of a call. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so at this point, you should be seeing a screen. It's a still of me wearing a hat, and it should have a big yellow arrow. And the first thing I want to point out is the icon you may be familiar with, which is the video camera. If it is just a video camera like you see here, that means that your video camera is functioning and the person on the other side of the phone or other side of the call can see you. If you click on that icon one time, it will put a line through that, which means that your camera is not on and they cannot see you. So this is for the video. The arrow just shifted now to the microphone. Same thing here. If you want to mute yourself so people cannot hear you or the background noise in the room, this is what you would do if you're on a call. In my opinion, it is amazing to me how many people leave this on and then just don't realize the noises they make of shuffling things on their desk, or even if they're not speaking, just the noise they can make as background noise for a call. So if you're ever on a call, on Teams or otherwise, I would always mute yourself unless you are specifically speaking on that call. Now, the next icon shows the little rectangle with an arrow pointing up. That is the icon that allows you to share your screen. And I want to wait for a moment and get to that here in just a couple minutes. What I'd really like to spend some time going over are the next icon, which is the three little dots. And when you click on the three little dots, as the host for a meeting, and again, I'll share at the end how you can actually invite people into a meeting. You can click on these three little dots and it gives you these options. And so as you look down the list, you have show device settings, show meeting notes, enter full screen, show background effects, turn on live captions, keypad, start recording, end meeting, and turn off incoming video. So I'm going to give you a quick example of what the majority of these items do. And I'm going to start with show device settings. So if you click on show device settings, if you're listening to this call and you're concerned about your volume, what's happening with your microphone, etc., when you click device settings, it pulls up your settings for your system. So you can adjust your volume, etc., your microphone, etc., all of these things, your camera, which camera you want to use. If you happen to be in an atmosphere that has a couple of camera choices, you can decide here how to adjust your settings without having to close down the window and get out of the call and go into your actual computer settings and change your volume, etc. So that's an easy way for you to do it while still staying on the call. The second thing I want to show is show meeting notes. So let's say you're doing a listing presentation and you are having conversation with the client, and the client is making certain determinations and commitments as a result of things you're talking to. As an example, let's say you are having a discussion and they say, yes, Jason, what do I need to do? I just showed you around the home with my phone. And I say, well, I think you need to do this. I think you need to move that furniture. I think you need to go ahead and get rid of the trampoline in the backyard. And you're having all this conversation and you're trying to remember to yourself, how am I keeping track of all of these commitments and items that the seller and I are agreeing to do? And so if you click on show meeting notes, it pops up a little window on the side of your screen that allows you to start making notes that both you and the participants on the call can see. So this way, as you go through, you can type in, okay, so we agree we're going to move the trampoline. Fantastic. We can go ahead and click here, move trampoline, what have you. And once you complete your list with meeting notes, etc., then what happens is as soon as the call concludes, meaning your call is totally wrapped up, it gives you this setup. It gives you a little look of your chat, of what happened in the chat. And then it also gives you a show notes in full screen. So, you know, when I look back at this, during the call, I made check the notes, list the notes, work on your prospecting. Those are all three things that I typed. And so it asks me, do I want to see them? I click yes, and then it shows me all of the notes that we made during the call. So it's an easy way for you to keep track of any commitments or obligations you've made, or things or instructions that the client may need on the call. All right, next up is enter full screen. You'll see right here that if you are watching this call as an attendee, you see all of the items that are off on your left-hand side and the search function at the top and all of that. It just brings it into a full screen mode. So I don't need to show you that as an example. Background effects. When you click background effects, it actually allows you to do a couple of different things. So I'm going to jump back into the call and I'll give you an example. So you guys are seeing me right now, and I have this this green and navy background behind me. So if I go ahead and click on my call, click on show background effects, and I select one of them and I apply it, I'm actually hanging out at the beach. You guys can see the little, beach cabana behind me there. It just changes the background and eliminates a couple of things. Now, here's the reason this might be important. Right now, you're saying, Jason, if we're sitting in a room, all you see is the room behind me. And I'd say, but what if you were at a coffee house and you've got all kinds of people zipping back and forth behind you, waitresses, people in the room, etc. Or if I'm in a subway or just waiting to get on my next call, you'll see that it can get a little fuzzy when you move real quickly. You see some of that because it is trying to decipher what is me and what is background. So if you have glasses, sometimes it can distort your face just a little bit, especially if you turn this way, the void between the glasses and your face, you see how it does a little bit of that. So it's a little funky. It's not perfect, but more than anything, it's intended to eliminate the background distraction, if you will. So from there, if you decide that you don't want that, there's a little circle with a line through it. All you have to do is apply, and it gets rid of that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is go back to showing you the PowerPoint. So Kathy, I can see you. Can you just nod that I still have the arrow show background effects? Got it. Thank you. That helps me. All right, the next thing is turn on live caption. Now, it's possible that you are speaking with someone that does not, A, have a microphone, or a speaker rather, on their side, so they may not be able to hear you as well. It's also possible that they're in a busy place and they can't hear you as well. It's also possible you're having a call with someone that's hearing impaired. And so here's where you would turn on live caption. So just to give you an example, I did a test with earlier, and I just said out loud, oh, this is just a guy in his trucker hat. And that's, you'll see on the bottom left-hand side of the screen here, that's exactly what it shows there. So as you talk, it's got about a second delay on it because it is taking what I'm saying and it's typing it on the screen. So if that is something that is a tool that you could utilize because of your audience, by all means, you can do that. The next talks about start recording. And as you guys saw when I first started this meeting today, all you have to do is hit start recording. And when you go to end the meeting, it will stop. It will load that whole meeting into Microsoft Stream. It will also type all of the captioning for what was said in text form of what happened during the meeting. And that should all be available for you in Microsoft Stream whenever you can see it. So that's how you would utilize that particular function. Also, when you click to start recording, it's not private. Every other person on the other side of the line sees a little pop-up that basically says, just so you know, this call is being recorded, just so you know and are aware of what you're saying or not saying and whether it's being recorded or not. So it's more of a disclosure issue than anything. Turn off incoming video. It's possible that you're the host and you are giving a presentation, but the pop-up of the 4 people in front of you as the host is very distracting. And I will say it can be extremely distracting when people are hopping up, running around, eating, not paying attention, sitting on their cell phone on the camera in front of me while I'm actually trying to give a session. So things like that, if that is distracting to you as the host, I can just shut off your incoming video that I don't want to see you on the other side. I just want to make this very much a one-way broadcast. And so that's something you have the ability to do, and takes the power out of their hands to turn the microphone, or pardon me, the video on or off. So those were under the 3 pop-up little buttons there, the 3 little dots. To the right of that, as you can see with the arrow here, is the chat button. And so when you click on the chat button, it slides a little window over and shows the meeting chat. And so as people are typing in and out, whoever's joining the meeting, you will be able to see that popping up on your screen. And so the one thing I will caution you is that even though I have the chat function up, if I slide it off my screen like this and I move on, and I am not actually having the chat open, people could be leaving comments in the chat and I may not see them in time to respond to them. So make sure if you're hosting a meeting that you either A, open the chat on occasion, or B, just keep it open depending upon what you're doing and your screen size. So the next thing I'm going to show you is participants. And I hopped onto Danielle's call earlier and I stole a couple screen captures there just to give you an example. So if you click on participants, Nancy and I did a sample earlier, and you will see that if I click on participants and it just has Nancy and I, it does not give me the ability to mute all because it's just two people on the line. So in the upper right-hand corner, you will not see a mute all button if there's just two of you. It's just that conversation. But if I invite a whole group, and I'm going to a slide I stole from earlier, you'll see there's an entire group there. So I can go ahead and here, it gives me the option to mute all because there's a number of people. Now you'll look and you'll see on the right-hand side, the little microphone with a line through it, those individuals are already muted. But if I'm getting background noise, it is quite possible on the call earlier, maybe it was Tanya or Nathan or Ellen, could have been background noise. So if I want to mute that individual participant and not mute all, maybe as an example, I am leading the meeting and I'm having a conversation with Ellen, but we keep getting background noise. If I click on mute all, it's going to mute Ellen too. And then Ellen's got to go in and I got to say, Ellen, I'm going to mute all. Can you please stop? Can you take yourself off mute, Ellen, for the group afterwards? Or I can simply click to the right of the person and it gives me a little pop down and I can just mute them one at a time. I can just go here, mute, 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 mute those people and shut their mics off. So it's pretty easy to shut them off. It's also possible that someone gained access to your meeting that you don't want in the meeting. Now, if you click on that, you can actually remove that participant from the meeting. Now, one other thing that you have the ability to do on your side as a participant, and this is just, I'm jumping down a rabbit hole off script for just a second. I can tell that some of you guys are trying to follow along and looking at some of your options. One of those options is allowing you to request control. Now, let's say Kathy and I had worked on this presentation together, and I want to do my segment and say, Kathy, why don't you take over from here and you do your segment? We're all on the same call. Kathy could request control with those three little dots on her side. She could request control, and if I grant it, she basically takes over my screen. And she can start moving my screen around and moving through that section of the slideshow. So, you know, Microsoft Teams itself, it really does allow you to collaborate and turn over control. So again, total sidebar, but that's something that you have the ability to request.
Which button is that?
I'm pretty sure, Lori Sheeler, you just tried to do that. So, so she must have clicked on it. I'm assuming the three little dots. Click that, Ellen, and see if that three little dots gives you the opportunity to request control.
Jason, request control shows up on my panel there.
Is it on the bar in the middle of the screen that allows you to request control, or did you have to click something to open that?
It's the bar in the middle of the screen.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just to the right of the little people, the participants.
Okay.
And before the red hang up button. It's right.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay. I see it now. Yes. So that's the request control. Okay. Perfect. So if you are on the call and you want to request control, okay, Ellen, I see that you're trying to request control. So if I wanted to actually allow that, if I clicked allow, it would allow Ellen to start moving the things around on my side. So there you go. So it pops up on your bar. I don't see that on my side because I am the host. So there you go. All right, so let me show you one or two other things because this is where the next couple slides I want to show you, I think, are some of the most important. And it is giving you the ability to share your screen with the other people on the call. So as of right now, you guys are seeing the arrow pointing at the screen, share screen button. So if you click on that button, and here's an example, it shows me, and it does not have the arrow, but it slides this up on the bottom of my screen, and it allows me to decide of all the things I have open right now, what am I trying to show the rest of the people on the call? So if I, in preparing for my call, I'm going to open whatever it is I want to actually show you and just have it in the background. And then I can go in and click on that and be able to show you guys what it is I'm trying to showcase. The error I made in the meeting the other day where I played a video and you guys could not hear the audio, I didn't click this little button in the upper right-hand corner that says include system audio. And so if I had clicked that button, then you would have actually been able to see the the audio or hear the audio of the video. So with that, I'm going to pop back in here for a second. And that kind of gives you a little bit of a look on that side of what it is to be able to share things on the video. Now, I'm going to bounce back over, and now that I have, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to share with you just 3 seconds of a video, and you'll see that the audio comes across just fine. So if I wanted to actually show you a live video, I would click right now in live time. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to include the system audio. I'm going to select the screen that I have open. You're going to see that I now have a video up on the screen, and I'm going to say, everybody, I want you to hear this.
That's right.
All right. What about the instances where there's some things on my desktop I don't want everyone to see?
I know.
Okay, so I'm going to pause there, and hopefully that came across okay to you guys on the other side, that you heard the video and the audio of what it is I was trying to show. And so that's what I talked about earlier. Sometimes it's just that one little button you got to know to press to get things to function. So rather than, I'm trying to eliminate the cause and effect here. So if I'm you and I'm doing a virtual listing call, what I would do is I would go ahead and prepare my Moxie listing presentation or your PowerPoint, whatever you're using. I would assume most of you guys are using Moxie. Moxie already has all of the listing concierge documents, etc. in it. You can put in your pricing, your comparables, etc. We can have this type of a dialogue and conversation, and I'd say, now, gang, what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you what we're talking about as far as comps are concerned. Go in and do exactly what I did, share screen, and it allows it to come across, and you can kind of take it from there. So, all right, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to show you how to actually invite someone to a Teams meeting. All right, so let's say you say, Jason, this is great information. I have a number of applications for this. I actually want to be able to send this to my client to do a virtual listing call. I'd like to reach out to my family and get 3 or 4 people on. I would like to just have a one-on-one powwow with an agent in the office or someone I'm doing business with, but I'd like to see them and have this type of a conversation. So to do that, I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you from Outlook how I can do that. Okay, so you should see my standard email. When I come down to the left-hand side here, I'm going to go ahead and click on my calendar to be able to open my calendar. And when I open my calendar, when you guys realize how busy I've been the past week, you can probably see the number of meetings, etc. I have been in and been on in the past couple of days here. But what I want you to really pay attention to is up here at the top of the screen where it says New Teams Meeting. So if I'm going to do New Teams Meeting, all I have to do is click New Teams Meeting. It's going to give me a pop-up. It's going to allow me to name the title of the meeting, required, who do I want to go, and all you need to invite them is their email address. Now, we're not terribly corporate here, so it is not something where you say, well, you will be required or you will be optional. You guys are all independent contractors. It's all optional to you. But as far as it's concerned, you could put, hey, you know what, this call really is going to be between this person, and this person, but these other people can join if they would like. So they can get an invite, but they will see that it's not required of them. It's an optional meeting. So if you put their email addresses in, put the start time. So as an example, if I was going to do something at 3 o'clock today, I would say, I'm going to go ahead and do it at 3 p.m. this afternoon. And it's going to ask me, when do I want it to end? And I would say this afternoon, and I want it to be a 1-hour meeting. And then from there, all I have to do is hit send. A number of you guys that are on the call are already familiar with the fact that you're going to get a link just like this that has the ability for them to click this blue live link and join this particular meeting. You don't need to build that link, add that link, drop in that link, etc. If I put in your email addresses and hit send, that's how it will come across. Now, if you want to go ahead and type something in, I can say, I think this would be a great meeting.
Jason, that's not popping up. That visual isn't popping up for me.
Okay.
All I see is your calendar.
Okay. So the pop-up is still on my screen here, so I'm surprised you guys can't see that.
Jason, I'm on a Mac and my ribbon bar at the top doesn't have near as many icons as yours. And the ones it's missing is Teams and Skype. So
Okay.
I'm not sure. And I'm running Outlook on my computer, not 365, which might be the problem. And I'm also running on a Mac, so I don't know if that's an issue. But
you know what? I have had one or two people mention to me that on a Mac, a couple of their choices and their options were varied. And so I would encourage, if in doubt, maybe after this call, you may just do a Google search, because I don't have a Mac, so unfortunately I can't guide you in that regard. You might just do a little research on because there were plenty of videos out there once I actually pulled it up. But I have to admit, it took them a while to get to the point on the number of the videos.
I have my own version of Outlook, and I can go in through Desk and get into Outlook that way. And the toolbars are very different. So
depending upon which way you go in.
So yeah, I don't have the iTeams toolbar. I don't have all that stuff that comes in through CB, through the Caldwell Banker, whatever we're called, through the Caldwell Banker app. So keep that too, Bob.
Yeah, I will say that
that's the difference between the Outlook app on the computer and Outlook 365, which is running from the web.
Yes. So let me give you one other bit of information there. So I had a meeting with a gentleman who is talking about the office. He's actually in the process of going to real estate school, and he did not have any Microsoft product on his computer at home. And I sent him an invite to Teams for this. He received the invite. He said I had to click to do one little attachment download. He said it took about 10 seconds. He said, and I pressed the link and I was able to be in as a participant, no problem. So he said he didn't have any issues and he didn't have any of the programs. Now, of course, he's not going to be able to facilitate a meeting as a host, but you can send that your recipients, my point is your recipients don't have to have Office 365 to be on a Teams call.
Okay.
For what that's worth. So Kathy, one other question while you're there. Can you see the appointment pop up now or no?
Right now, all I see is you. For a minute ago, I did see the application.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I'm not sharing currently. That's it. Okay. I was doing
that.
Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. Okay, so it worked. It was just a matter of how I was sharing my screen. So, okay, so with that, I'm going to pause. I'm going to open it up. Questions, thoughts, concerns for those of you guys who are on the call? Let me open the chat as well. All right.
I will avail myself if anybody wants to practice this. And, especially like the sharing screens, I'm not really clear on that, but I would like to try it with somebody also. So if anybody's interested, let me know and we'll kind of test it with each other.
There you go. And I will say this. I definitely think that for those of you guys who said, Jason, I don't have all those same options that you just showed, that does not necessarily surprise me because I have them because I'm the host of this call. You may not have the exact same as a participant sitting there, but keep in mind, I'm trying to showcase this from the ability of you giving the meeting where you would be the host. So don't be surprised if I would take Nancy up or take one of your peers up on just schedule a call in 20 minutes. Send the invite through, see if they get it okay, hop on the call and see what options you have available at that point compared to what we just talked about. So,
Jason, does this have whiteboard options or we can draw or write?
It does have a whiteboard option whenever you go to share screen. It gives you a whiteboard option for you to load.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And so can you guys see that on your side?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Hey, Jason, when I was the moderator or the person running the meeting, I still didn't have all those options. So when I hit the three bubbles, I only have show device settings, enter full screen, keypad, and turn off incoming video.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. And Sarah, are you operating on a PC or are you operating on a Mac?
PC. I've got both, but I can't configure the Mac very well, so I've only done this on a PC.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't know how to troubleshoot that. Sarah, if you get a chance, maybe try to invite me to a meeting, not between 3:30 and 4 today, and maybe see what you see on that other side. And if we're in together on a meeting, maybe we could walk through that and see what you get as far as pop-up of other options.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. So we do have a couple of other questions that came through on the chat. Tracy Litch, hey, how do you work with the dual screen? Just curious if that's more beneficial. First of all, I love a dual screen. If you don't have one, I highly encourage you to get one. It doesn't take a whole lot to set up. It's an additional screen, and there's a VGA line, I believe it is, that basically broadcasts it on both sides. You can basically extend your screen. So on a dual screen situation, for those of you who have it, when you go to share your screen, I'm looking at my laptop right now, but if I'm actually looking at my shared screen, I'm looking over here. So keep in mind that if you're going to share a screen, when you go to share screen, the screen takes over, but I may appear in the bottom right-hand corner or what have you of some of your screens. It does on mine anyway. So just keep in mind that you're looking at the camera here. If I'm looking at my dual screen, that's the only thing that may be a little abnormal. Make sure you get back to looking at your camera when you quit sharing the screen, because now it is back on the camera for me. So so if you have particular questions about that on the shared screen, let me know. Otherwise, it's a little easier to navigate, because when you have a singular laptop and you go to share your screen, your options, it slides up on the bottom, and you're trying to see what tabs you have you already had shrank down. If you are having a dual screen, I already have what I'm going to show you guys already pulled up over here, so I don't have to look for it necessarily there. When it pops up on the bottom, I know exactly what my screen looks like, and I just select it. So it's a little easier when you have a dual screen, but you can absolutely do it with a singular computer.
Jason, this is Bob. We may need somebody to take a look at the ability for Mac users to use this. I'm in Office 365 now, and I went into Calendar and created, and none of those icons are there. And then when I go into New Event, none of those icons are there. And I don't see anything in the toolbar or in anywhere or in the menus that indicates that Teams even exists for me.
For you, as a Mac, as under the Mac.
Yeah, and I'm quite surprised, given that I'm running Office 365 off the web now, that I didn't see the same thing you saw. So, I don't know, maybe I'll reach out to Nicole.
You know what? That's a great idea, because Nicole may be more familiar with it. Is Nicole a Mac user?
She's not, but she has helped me before. I think she gets asked enough Mac questions.
If you're in Outlook, at the top left where it's got the the square with all the little bubbles, click that, and then it should open up, and there should be a purple Teams tab there, or click the all tabs and it'll show you all of them.
Yeah, I see the Blue Teams app, and I opened that, and even in there, it allows me to join meetings and be in meetings, but it doesn't allow me to schedule one.
If you look on your, so first of all, when you guys are on this particular screen we're on now, when you look over on the left-hand side, do you see the little calendar tab over on your left?
I have to drop down to get there.
Okay. And I figured it might look a little different because everybody's got different computers.
Yeah.
But you may be able to go into that. And that's not how I've scheduled the meetings that I've scheduled in the past, so I'm a little off on this one. But I would definitely check there, Bob, and see if you could schedule a meeting straight from the calendar function within Teams versus going Outlook to Teams to do it.
Okay. I'll try that.
On the calendar, it's easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see a calendar. Oh, I see it. I see it. Hang on. New meeting. No, nothing there. It's like they've taken that functionality away from a Mac user. I don't know why. It's weird. I'll ask Nicole, or I'll Google it.
Yeah, there you go.
If
Yeah,
it
let,
exists.
yeah, let me know what you find because I know that Mac using would be a little different, and I have to admit, my wife is a Mac user, I am not, and so we have the Pasha family is divided, and so she asked me for advice on what to do, and I said, Sarah, I don't know anything other than Control P and Control C, and that's it. So, I'm more of a PC guy, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other questions? I do think just you learn so much just by hosting one pretend 15-minute meeting with one another. Go through, click you can't mess it up. Worst case scenario, you kill the call and you try it again. But definitely do a practice or two with a friend before you try to do something live with a client. But you can also use this, as I mentioned, with other family member and friends as a result. So so for what that's worth.
Jason, to create a meeting, is it create a team if you go directly through the Teams app on a Mac? Because there's an option to create a team. Is that essentially creating a meeting?
Yes, that's correct.
I would assume so, yes. I would
And then
assume
there's
that.
going to be a drop down that allows you to use, to put in the emails. And you should also see, like yesterday when I created one, the drop down showed the whole office. And that was the quote team that I created.
Okay, so there you go. So then you don't have to do it through Outlook. You just have to do that one extra step, Bob, going into Microsoft Teams through CB Desk.
Yeah, I did. But once you get there, there's no capability to schedule a meeting.
Well,
At least not that I see.
That's the create a team. That's what Sarah's talking about. Join or create a team.
Join a creative team. Okay, I'll go take a look.
Okay.
I just pulled it up and it came up for me, Bob. A purple icon, create a team.
Okay.
I wonder if it has to do with how old your computer is too, your Mac.
Oh, that's always possible. Well, it is because the operating systems sometimes they're not backwardly compatible. Create a team. Okay. I'll look for it.
Well, and I think that the intention of this, at least from a company perspective, if I was used to dealing with, the IT department and the IT team, and then I had my marketing team and I have my production team, I can set those teams up. And whenever it's time for a meeting here, I just select which team I'm going to deal with and work with for whatever call and meeting I'm trying to host. So you do have the ability to set those things up. So you can also look around at the icons on your left-hand side. But
yeah, I checked on all apps. And then Microsoft Team came up. Did you have an all apps that you could click on?
I'm creating a team right now.
Office 365, the web-based. I went through our NRT and then clicked on 365. And there was an icon for all apps.
I created a team and now I've found a little thing that says meet in the far right corner, and under it says schedule a meeting.
Yeah.
Is that how you did it?
I didn't go any further with creating a team, but it's there for me.
And in calendar, that little tab that says new event is where you can also create a meeting as well.
Okay.
And there's a little tab that says, if you open that new event tab, add titles, invite, invitees, date, time, repeat never, search for a room or location. If you've got the little cursor thing, click to Teams meeting set for on, it automatically sets the team meeting for you through Teams.
Hey, Bob, do you see down the left-hand side of your screen the activity, chat, Teams, calendar, all those icons?
Yeah.
Okay, so right there, if you go to calendar, select calendar, and right up at the top, it jumps right up to add new meeting. Right there, you can schedule a meeting. You can also do a live event.
Well, okay.
You have all your options.
The simplest way, though, is to just do it through the calendar under new event, create a new event there, and just make sure that you have Teams meeting is checked on so that the system recognizes that you're making a team meeting and not an actual physical location meeting.
Right. Okay, so you're working in the calendar right out of Outlook.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
All right, gang. Well, if you guys want, obviously some of you guys who may have similar systems or similar functionality, by all means, you can always reach out one-on-one. You know, one other thing that I can mention is over on the left-hand side, you see the calendar, and then beneath that is calls. You can specifically reach out and instead of setting up a formal team meeting and then you accept it and then you join me at that particular time and what have you, I could just set up a Teams call and I can go ahead and set it up to go ahead and click on set up a call, start typing in the person's name and make a call directly to them right now. And if they accept the call, then we're face-to-face video chatting right now. You don't have to make it necessarily a formal event on a calendar. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there you go. So that's one other option. So if you guys, as an example, getting off this call right now, if you said, hey, Bob, call me. As soon as this is done, I can click call, hit Bob, and Bob's computer is going to ring and he's going to accept the Teams meeting and we're going to start chatting, just Bob and I. So you can troubleshoot things that way without saying, okay, let's get out, let's go into the formal calendar and do the formal setup. I can just call him direct through Teams.
You did that through Teams?
And you can do that directly through Teams, correct.
Okay.
So,
okay.
There you go.
Great information.
Well, I hope it was helpful. At least gives you a little more feel, but like anything else, you'll have a little better understanding once you just try a pretend meeting with a friend of yours and then go onward and upward. But hopefully it's something you can use for maybe not virtual showings, but definitely virtual listing presentations. If you're presenting a contract, if you're negotiating a building inspection, anything like that, this could be a tool you could use not only during a COVID-19 time, but hopefully even when you get back to your day-to-day business. Maybe it saves you a trip to the house and you could say, hey, let me just show you this on the building inspection. This is what they mean, and use it to navigate the situation. So a good tool no matter what.
Good, thanks.
All right. You got it, guys. Well, thanks for being here. If I don't talk to you the rest of the day, have a great weekend. I'll look forward to chatting with everyone next week, if not sooner.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thanks. This is great.
Thank you.
I'm still not getting all the little